Meet Bessie Brown. She's a 1949 Mercury M68, a 3/4 ton pickup. She has her original V8 engine, but her transmission and a few of her other parts have been swapped out or upgraded over the years. This is Bessie's boy, Ian. Ian's a social work student in his early 20s. He and Bessie first met when Ian was in high school.
There are two stories to how we acquired and came by Bessie. There's the story that I remember, and there's the story that Dad claims is true. Dad claims that I said I always wanted a Mercury, and I found a listing on Kijiji for this truck, and I showed it to him, and he said, okay. And then he drove down to Lethbridge. I don't remember this at all. I remember none of this. I mean, I remember him going down to Lethbridge, but I don't remember looking up an ad or anything on Kijiji. I don't remember finding this. I distinctly remember some kind of conversation with Dad about how, hey Ian, would you like a cool truck? And I'm like, sure. And then he shows me a listing and he's like, would you like this? Sure, Dad, that seems like a cool first vehicle idea. And next thing I know, he's going down to Lethbridge. It was not green, it was this kind of light blue mixed with patches of brown rusty stuff. The boards in the bed were just rotted, and some of them had already caved in. When we first went underneath and looked at it underneath, it was surprisingly clean and in good condition. The seat is actually this same seat, but you could tell that mice had been living in it. It's not bad really still. We didn't do anything to it other than put a nice cover on it, a very classic cover. Almost everything was here really. The one distinct thing that we were missing was one hubcap. We were missing one hubcap. And that was the main thing that I was like, Dad, where's the fourth hubcap? It was in really good condition. There was just some things that we had to fix up or repaint or just tweak a little bit to make it work. And there was some stuff we had to add on entirely, like windshield wipers. Because legally you need 2 windshield wipers to be able to register the vehicle or something. But when we first got the engine out, I would go at it with an old screwdriver, just chiseling off all the caked on dirt. And I don't know why, but I really enjoyed that. Because it was simple, but I was like, I'm doing something useful. Throughout the restoration of the vehicle, I just didn't have energy to help my dad with any of it. So there was three years where I just couldn't do anything, and that entire time we were working on Bessie. And if I think about it enough, I did help with Bessie. I tried my best to do a lot, and as we got further and further along, my head started doing better and better and better, and I could help more. But I couldn't do anything. I was just I'm gonna stay in bed all the time except when I have to go to the hospital to see my psychiatrist. My dad has never been the talking parent. He's the fix it with his hands parent. He can build all the stuff and make all the stuff and fix all the stuff. For him, working on the truck was a way to bond with me and spend time with me, and I think also try and help me, be there for me in a way that he wasn't sure how else to. He didn't know what to say a lot of the time, but he cared about me, and trying to get me to come out and work on the truck was his way of trying to get me out of bed to do something, because staying in bed all day it never helps. Me having depression was not something shocking, because Mom has depression and her mom had depression. I remember I just came up to my mom one night after my dad had gone to bed, and I told her I want to go see a counselor. And I'm pretty sure I started crying. And my mom asked, because one of my friends was moving away, and she asked, is this because a friend is moving away? And I said, no, I just feel really awful. And there was a slew of counselors, psychiatrists, therapists, psychologists, everyone that I went through. And it took such a long time to even just find someone I would talk to. I think she was the 5th psychiatrist that I went to. And she put me on one medication, Zoloft. That was the first one I was on. And we were okay, I'm on a medication, everything's gonna be okay now. But after the kind of placebo effect of the 2 weeks wore off, I was back down, and I feel like I crashed even harder afterwards. And there were the 2 weeks where I was like, I was doing okay, I started going to some classes, and then I just couldn't do it again. And it was months and months. And it wasn't until my aunt talked to my mom. My uncle has been dealing with depression for decades and has been on and off so many medications trying to figure out what works for him. And my aunt was like, Pat, he's not on the right medication. And my mom was like, fuck, you're right. Apparently, you're supposed to be able to function and get out of bed every day and go to school or work and, like, not want to die all the time. And it took, like, 2 or 3 years before I was on a combination where we were like, oh, damn, this actually works. And for the most part, I've been stable on that same combination for the last, like, 2 years now. My psychiatrist, when I told her I think I'm trans, she was like, okay, well that makes things, I don't know if she said easier, but it was like, it's easier but also harder, because now we know that getting you on testosterone is going to help your mood improve dramatically. So we're just going to be working with medications until we can get you on that. I was like, okay, so testosterone is like an antidepressant. She's like, yeah, no way, for a lot of trans people, hormone replacement therapy is an antidepressant. But at the same time, she was like, stuff's gonna suck for a little while. And like part of the depression was that I just went into complete denial, which didn't help at all. I was like, oh shit, I'm trans. And I was like, nope, that sounds terrifying. I'm just gonna try really hard to be a girl. Which didn't help my mood or mental state at all. Made it worse. I just felt even more uncomfortable than usual. Which was a feat, really. That's an accomplishment. I was out of school for like 2 years. I remember a lot of hospital waiting rooms, waiting to see my psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, counselors that I got sent to. I remember the emergency room that my mom took me to a couple times when I would attempt something. I remember going to the high-level bridge a lot, and then taking the bus home, or even just calling my dad to come pick me up, because if mom came and picked me up, she would be crying and she would try and take me to the hospital. But I made dad promise that he wouldn't tell mom. I was a little bit concerning for some people. Understatement. I get people that ask me sometimes, so how much for the truck? And I used to say, it's not for sale. And they're like, okay, yeah, you've got the like emotional attachment and stuff. I'm like, so now I just say $200,000. And they think that's ridiculous. And I'm like, I just picked an arbitrary high number because no, that's like 5 years, 6 years of my life now spent with my dad, spent getting better, spent having a transition and transformation alongside this truck. There's so many things that we want to and are going to do to like make it better, because there's constant room for improvement. It's like when you renovate your house, you're never really done because there's always something new to add, and you're never really done learning and developing as a human being, because there's so much stuff I don't know. And then there's things like projects like the trailers that we're going to be building, where you finish one project or get it mostly done, so then you move on to the next thing. I like how happy it makes my dad and my mom. Mom loves Bessie.